Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Cultural Connection podcast.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
If it's your first time here, welcome. We are a group of culturally diverse people of color who wanted to start a podcast to start conversations about anything within the spectrum of culture. My name is Alex, your lovely host.
I'm Train.
I'm Savannah.
And I'm Kenneth.
So, if you watched our last episode, you would know we previously touched on a bit of media in terms of its impacting culture. Today will be all about expanding that. So, I'm gonna jump right into the question. What do you guys think that media impacts culture? And when I say media, I mean like in all forms, in music, television, anything really. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I was thinking about this from our last conversation, and I'm like, media does impact culture and how I see culture a lot, because not only does it like teaches people certain things about culture, because not everybody is culturally diverse, and most of the things they do learn is from social media. And I guess it really impacts how people view our culture and etc. and how we view ourselves based on our culture. Um, does anybody else have anything else to say?
Savannah, go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking about this in the shower today. I was thinking so in means of like representation, I think that media has both good and bad like impacts or like effects. So I like this saying a lot. It's that representation is not always good. Like it's not always good representation. So I think positively it gives people of color somebody to look up to and relate to, but I think negatively it can also perpetuate like stereotypes and things like that.
Personally, media I think impacts everything, like not just culture, especially if you're growing up or if you started growing up whenever like the internet and stuff like that was like extremely prominent in your life. Like all of us here, I'm pretty sure we basically grew up on the internet. At least I know I did. I had what do you call it? Um oh my god, what's it called? Like unsupervised
Yeah.
internet, yeah, that type of experience. Whenever you have that, when you see forms of media and you grow up on it, that really, affects you. And I think that affects everybody, especially to see the way that, people are portrayed in media because that's just, it kind of mirrors real life, if that makes sense. Kenneth?
I personally didn't. Well, for a long while, I didn't grow up on the internet.
Mhm.
I didn't really start using that kind of stuff until around maybe I was like 10. But since media, not only in social media but music and television, um, there's a pretty huge or a pretty decently big music music industry for Filipinos. And personally, when I think about that, yeah, it does. It definitely does affect your culture. I mean, it is a part of your culture.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it does. And television, and not just representation by people of your own culture in television, but having television and shows and stuff like that that are literally a part of your culture. Like some for I know for Filipinos, there's this one show, Wow Wow Wee, and I used to love that. That was really great, and it was just it's a part of it was a part of me growing up. But in terms of social media and stuff like that, yeah, of course it does affect it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a big thing is like representation in media
Mm-hmm.
because even like overseas, whatever representation they see like of a certain like ethnicity or race or anything like that, they'll start thinking that those stereotypes that they saw in media is like exactly what those people of those race and ethnicity do. So that takes me to my next question. What do you think about the types of representation of each ethnicity slash race portrayed in specifically American media, because I feel like American media, it's there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into all forms of like what do you call it? Like, overseas media and stuff like that. But specifically American media, since we did grow up on it.
I have a question first. What do you mean by types of
Mhm.
representation?
So by representation, I mean like, well, I feel like there's representation in everything. There can be representation in somebody's race, representation in somebody's ethnicity, representation in sexuality, gender, stuff like that. That's what I mean by types of representation. But I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Or sorry, it could also mean like representation in whatever form of media. Either it could be like, oh, well, somebody has been portrayed like this, or somebody is this in like music or something like that. I know that whole lot made no sense.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Oh,
Why don't you go first so we can get a point?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Specifically what I think about the types of representation for like for like ethnicity, race in American media. I feel like it's getting better. Like it's definitely like the representation is definitely getting better. But if you look at like old like not episodes, yeah, like basically like episodes of television, and you see how some like um ethnicities are portrayed, it's very racist, like extremely racist. Not only that, but like there's just so many things that go into representation, like token ethnic characters. A show will have like this is very much more like impacted on television because it's what everybody sees. But like a television will have like a full cast of white characters, and then you get that like I don't know, one black person, the token black person, and they each like token black person has the same personality, or they just perpetuate the same stereotype, which can be extremely harmful in real life because again, that's perpetuating a stereotype. Having people that aren't of that specific race act as another race, there's a lot that goes into it. But I'll pass it off to somebody else before I keep talking.
Um, I think specifically in American media, like I'd said before, that not all representation is good representation. So I feel like specifically in American television and like movies and stuff, that it helps to perpetuate a lot of racist stereotypes. Um, and like specifically among like the Asian community and the women loving women community. Is that the correct term? Like women loving,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
You can say
American
sapphic.
yeah, American media sexualizes those groups of people like a lot. So
Oh
a lot of
god,
times,
especially
yep,
women loving.
it has a very negative effect on how people perceive those communities, and also like, um, I remember looking back. I think I watched like an old episode of like Jessie or something. The way that they portrayed Ravi, the Indian character, was so like it just seemed very racist. Like,
Racist.
yeah, the way like and Baljeet from Phineas and Ferb perpetuate stereotypes of Indian people, and a lot of American media, not just with like East Asian and South Asian people, it perpetuates stereotypes with Black people, Hispanic people, like all sorts of people, because they're like pushing a narrative that like you have, say, this Hispanic character, they act this certain way, and then because American people are consuming this media, they start to believe that, oh, all Hispanic people act that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, oh yeah, trying.
Um, Honestly, I feel like there are some very like bad representation of like races because from what I can tell that from the little representation that we do have, some of it is like especially for the Asian community, it puts like a really bad like stereotype to Asian people, saying that like either they're like a fob where they're fresh off the boat and they can't speak English correctly, or they're a nerd or a band geek, and it's just like it's very harmful for you as a child when you're a child to see that and you're like, oh, that's the only thing I can be because that's the only thing that is being portrayed on TV that you're like on like entertainment that you're consuming basically.
Mhm.
And like, do we like Asian code some of the characters? Like when I was little, I used to like watch cartoons and like I know they're not Asian,
Mhm.
but like I in my head they're Asian.
Yeah. I know we touched on that.
Headcanoning
Yeah.
any character that looked even the tiniest bit of Asian. I was like, "You're Asian. You're Asian. I'm headcanoning you as Asian right now."
Which is all due to the little representation that we do have in media that we have to make our own representation.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking a detour from television, though, what do you think about the representation, like in music? Because I know some people will, or I don't know. It always makes me feel good whenever I have an artist that I really like and they're also the same ethnicity as me. Like,
Oh,
it just it makes me feel good and makes me feel like, yeah, let's go.
yeah, like I recently found out I don't listen to her, but the artist Her, that's her name, right? Yeah. I think
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I found out that she's half Filipino. And then I also found out Bruno Mars is part Filipino. And I was like, oh my god.
Wait, really?
Oh,
I did not know
yeah.
Oh,
that.
you guys didn't
So
know that Bruno Mars
Wait,
is
you-
Filipino?
Bruno Mars,
You
yeah,
guys did
nobody-
not
didn't
know
know that?
that?
Wow.
Oh my
No,
god.
No, because nobody
Interesting.
really knows. Because I feel like a lot of the Filipinos in like, oh, you know who else is Filipino? Rising star Olivia Rodrigo. And it's
Yeah.
just nice.
She is?
Nice to,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I think she's partially Filipino. All of them are like
I
half.
thought she was just white.
No, you don't understand. Like Tyga, he's half Vietnamese. His mom is
Are you for
Vietnamese.
real?
Yeah.
Tyga?
This is insane.
Wow. We might have to have a whole different podcast on. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I mean, it's nice to know that like, because it gives you hope that you can also achieve like a position like that. Yeah, so it's good to have, and just like Asian people, period. It's nice to see Asian people in the spotlight, like K-pop artists that are gaining Western recognition.
Mm-hmm. That takes me to my next question. But what do you think about? Oh, whoops. So, what are your thoughts on consuming media from overseas or international media? I know for me, most of the media that I do consume is internationally. I guess because I just find it more interesting. All medias from different countries are pretty different. That makes sense. I think we all here consume media from overseas or international, at least.
At least some.
At least some. I don't know, Kenneth, do you?
Um, um, not not a lot. Definitely
Somewhat.
not a lot. Um, I I listen to some K-pop. I do. Right.
I see them, Boku no Hero Academia figures in the back over there.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, and also anime. It's just in general, I have trouble watching shows, but yeah, of course. I mean, um, I don't really think much, or I don't think about it a lot. The fact that they're Asian media and stuff like
Mhm.
that, or media from Asia, I enjoy it, right?
Right.
And there's nothing really specific to me, but of course, thoughts on consuming media from overseas. Why the heck not? You know, we all live in one planet. It's just a different place. So
Right.
yeah, of course you can. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong at all. And it introduces you to certain ideas and new things that, you might not even have thought of from the place that you live in. So it's
Right.
great. Yeah.
I feel like what stops a lot of people from consuming media overseas, especially like, so there was I guess there was an issue. Remember the Parasite movie that was really big?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Mhm.
Parasite
Really good movie,
is
though.
originally, yeah, very big. Parasite is an amazing movie.
Incredible.
It was a
And
good
Go
movie.
watch Parasite right now. Not
Woo!
sponsored, but go watch it. Really good.
But the Parasite movie is in Korean and fully in Korean, and obviously if you don't speak Korean, you can just watch it. You can just watch it with subtitles or just subbed.
Mhm.
But there was an issue going around that people only wanted to watch it dubbed or dubbed over in English. Or some people were like, like obviously Parasite, it's an amazing movie. Like I would recommend it to anybody that likes thrillers or anything. But there are many people who are just like, it's in Korean. I'm not watching that. I'm not gonna read.
Mhm.
Like, okay. I don't know. I feel like what stops people a lot is the fact that like it's in a different language. Oh, the same thing with K-pop or any just like any music that's in a different language. They
Mhm.
just feel like I can't understand it, so I'm not gonna
Oh,
listen
I
to
don't
it.
like it.
What? You can't appreciate like the
Yeah.
instrumental or something? Like I don't know. It just I don't
But I think
believe
that's just like I think that's just their prejudice. Cause the thing is that, um okay, I hate to bring it up, but Despacito, I completely butchered that. But, like, you know what I mean, right?
nah, okay.
Everybody wanted to listen to that song, but then
Yeah.
when it was, like, K-pop or C-pop or J-pop, etc., no one wants to listen to it because it's quote unquote "a different language," but then they're still accepting songs of different languages, just like they're picking and choosing what they want to accept.
Right. I see that
But
with
like
a lot of Hispanic songs. I'll be like, oh my God, yes,
Bad
Gasolina, put that
Bunny.
on. And
Yeah.
then you'll listen to like a song like BTS, like you'll put on BTS and be like, ew, what the fuck is this? Turn that
Mhm.
off. Like, what?
And I feel like with Despacito specifically, like a lot of people did not listen to it when it was just Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. They didn't listen to it until the remix came out with Justin Bieber on it.
Mhm.
And then people were like,
Mhm.
yes, Justin Bieber. I love
Believer.
Believer.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of just ignorant people that just won't consume, media from overseas or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I feel like that's a bad thing because there's so many gems. There's just a lot of gems. You just need to get over the language barrier that you have.
Mhm.
Like
And I
I
think that
remember keep
oh
going.
no, continue.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I remember trying to recommend an anime to somebody and they're like, I don't really want to watch that. I don't that's in Japanese. No. Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible. It's terrible, man.
But like, with international media, like I feel like that's a really good way to appreciate somebody's culture
Mhm.
is kind of immersing yourself in like their media, like their movies or personally for me, I listen to like a lot of international music, like not just from Asia but also from like Portugal or like Brazil. Like for some reason I have a really big fascination with bossa nova music. I'm not gonna get into that, but like music from Africa, music from Japan, Korea, China, where else? Like music that's in Spanish is a really good
Cumbia!
way yes, I love my cumbias. But it's just really good ways to appreciate culture, especially also with like foreign films is a really good way to like yeah.
Yeah, and it also like films and stuff like that, it can also teach you about other people's culture. I know oh my god, why am I always talking about anime? This is embarrassing. Don't call me a loser, but I know that I've learned
Loser,
oh
Nerd.
loser,
I know.
loser.
Oh my god, they're attacking me. But I know from watching like specific anime series that I have learned a lot of like Japanese folklore, like those types of things. Like
True.
I don't know, it's just always somehow placed into there, and I just learn a lot about that, and even just like about Japan itself. And Genshin Impact, so that is made by
And then
I'm sorry.
okay.
Oh my god,
Okay.
loser moment. Genshin
Uh-huh.
Impact. So that is made by a Chinese company called MiHoYo, and MiHoYo actually really loves to put in a lot of Chinese folklore into there. And I feel like it makes me feel closer to, my own ethnicity because I'm Chinese. I'm just like, yeah, Chinese folklore. I didn't even know about this. I was like, yeah. It makes me happy whenever something is developed or made by the same race as me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It makes me feel glad. What happened?
Oh,
You
it was just talking
Kenneth,
about
do you want to
Genshin.
say something
Yeah, I
about
want to say
Genshin? I know
something
you
about
always
Genshin
do.
Impact.
We know you
Yeah,
want to say
okay. First of all, I love Genshin.
we know.
It's a great game. I'm
Yeah,
sure everybody knows that, but
not
um,
sponsored.
not
Not
sponsored,
sponsored.
not
Mahalia,
sponsored.
please
I
sponsor
wish
I
us,
we
just,
were.
though.
I just really like Genshin. But since we're on the topic of consuming media from overseas or international, um, yeah, Genshin is an international game. It's in America also, but it's still considered international. But um, the languages in the game, I love that. I don't, it's something about it, right? It's
What do you mean by the languages?
the like voiceover languages in the game,
Ah, okay.
listening to them, right? I don't understand because I don't speak the language, but I love hearing them. I love the sound of them, and I consider that consuming media, right? Because you're listening to something that's in a
Yeah.
game. Games could be considered media,
Games
but
are media.
games are media. So I really like that aspect of it. Hearing different languages and not just Japanese. Genshin has Chinese and Korean, and I
Mhm.
just love the way that all of them sound. And even if they had like any other languages, obviously not just specific to Asian, even though that's all they have, but if there were other languages, and in fact, if I played a game with that had in another language, I'd probably use that because I just really like being exposed or hearing those kinds of things because it's really interesting.
Talk about languages. So last night, it was 3 a.m. I don't know what I was doing.
Oh
I
my
was
god.
searching through videos on YouTube and I found this thing called Ena or something like that. It's like somewhat unrelated. I don't know. It was extremely weird. If you ever wanna watch it, just search up ENA and you'll find, like, a character that's, like, blue and yellow. I do not know what I was watching for the dear life of me, I did not know what was going on. But there were specific characters that would come up and they would just start speaking, like, a different language. I don't know, I like that aspect that everything was not in English because the main, like I don't know, the main character of it? I don't even know how to explain it would speak English, right? But then all the characters that they would interact with, or at least most of the characters they would interact with would start speaking in like a different language, but like they'd still like understand each other. Like there was one speaking French, one speaking, I think it was Russian. I don't know. I just really like that aspect. Oh my god, aspect of adding in like different languages and just not making it all like in English, you know. Plus, different languages just they sound really cool. When you
Like
hear languages other than English, it's like, damn, that's cool. That's real cool.
This is not off topic, but kind of TikTok has like brought a lot of like different languages to light,
that's
like
true.
with their sounds. Like
Mhm.
I remember there's probably more, but the two I remember right now, like they're two Vietnamese song, and one was a remix where the girl goes, back and forth and back and forth with like the I don't know, it's where they're like Mo Pai, yeah, that one, or the Chào anh em là con gái miền Tây, that one.
I
I
love
was
that.
like, I
Oh
was
my
like, that's me, bro.
It introduced
I
a lot
am.
of music,
yeah.
that were in different languages. I know there were even, like, some songs that were, like, Russian, that were, like, in full Russian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh by
and that were getting
I can't
popular.
remember. I think it's like I see something. They're a Russian like duo. They've had songs go big on that app. There's also this Arabic song that got popular on there, and it's in full Arabic, like the whole thing.
I feel like it's so nice. It's so nice that things like
Yeah.
that can start getting popular, you know? Because again, like, media, it can let you appreciate people's culture, and appreciating language is, like, just a big step into appreciating culture. But moving on to the personal effects of media, because I feel like we all here have been personally affected by media. Oh my god, that sounds like sad. It sounds like trauma or something.
I mean,
um, but it obviously seems that media makes a very big impact. So for everyone here, how has media impacted you personally? Why is it quiet?
Yeah,
Why is it quiet,
quiet.
guys?
All right.
So basically for me, when I was a kid, I felt like I was alone since the school I was in at the moment, they didn't have any like Asian kids. And then on TV there was like no Asian characters or anything. Like none. Like I literally Isabella from Phineas and Ferb, I was like, oh, she's
Oh my god.
Asian. She's Asian.
But she wasn't.
She wasn't.
But
She
she
was
wasn't.
Hispanic, wasn't
For
she?
some reason,
Yeah,
I
she
always
was.
But I was like, in my head, she was Asian. I don't know. There's something about it. She was Asian. But it made me feel like really alone, like without like any representation. I was like, oh, okay, like I see all these white people, but I don't see any Asian people. And I was just like, oh, so like I don't like I can't relate to anyone. It just made me feel like such an outcast. But then when there was Asian representation, it was like really racist. Like
Yep.
really racist. Like the stereotype that Vietnamese women they like speak
Or
a
like
certain way
or
or
something.
like they work at nail salons, and I'm like that's so that's such a bad stereotype to put on people.
Mhm.
Especially there was a joke that a white woman made and was like, "Oh, I do your nail," or something stupid like that,
I
and
know
I'm like,
what you're talking about too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
the thing
about.
is like, honey, I have crystal gel for your nail, blah blah blah.
yeah, I
And
don't
then
want to.
like it went big on TikTok or like musically at the time, I think it was, and then people that were not Asian were doing the thing with the audio, and it was like it was offensive, and then everyone was like, haha funny, Vietnamese woman, haha.
Yeah, and I was just like, not only does my mom talk like that because English isn't her first language, so she talks like that. It's like my mom tries so hard to like work, like get paid, and like basically survive in this country. And for you guys to make fun of people like her, it just like makes me think that like, oh, that's all my culture is. It's like girls that speak English very badly and work in nail salons.
Mm-hmm.
And the fox eye trend, can we talk about that? Because I was just like where everybody was like pulling their eyes back and everything, and I was just like, I thought that was
Oh
racist. Did
my
you guys think it
god.
was
And then
racist? It was
I
racist, huh?
at first I was like people were just like, oh yeah, they're just doing model makeup. And I was like,
That's
okay. Okay. Because at first I didn't see the people like pulling their eyes back. They just were like, like doing the
uplifting
makeup.
their like cheekbones.
Right. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. That's model makeup. And then I started seeing people like literally just like doing like just like doing a pose where they look like they're pulling their eyes back. And at
For
that
the
at that point I
face.
was like, no, this
Yeah.
is a little racist. I mean, I
Mhm.
wouldn't say racist, but it's definitely offensive.
It's offensive.
It's definitely offensive. And then you'd have people being like, "Ah, so we can't do
Mhm.
makeup now?
Yes.
We can't do
Yes.
eyeliner now?" It's the same
And that
thing with like dolly
Asian
makeup.
fishing. Yes.
Yes.
It's oh my gosh. It's really angering. Like especially within the TikTok community, there's a lot of people that do like eyeliner that's like thick. I also do my eyeliner thick, but not to like make myself look more Asian. But
Mhm.
a lot of times people that fetishize Asian culture, which is also a downside of media, but we can get into that. Um, they will do their eyeliner in a way that makes their eyes look more Asian to come off Asian. And then a lot of times it seems like Asian people will be like, hey, that's not right. You're kind of like, this is offensive. And then people will be like, no, it's not. It's just makeup. We can't do makeup now. We can't do eyeliner now. But you're not Asian, so you can't say that. Like, it's not your place to decide whether it is or isn't Asian fishing because you can't.
Mhm.
That's not your thing.
Right. And it's the same thing for white people, or not even just white people. Any person that just isn't Asian that just calls something else Asian fishing, which it probably isn't. Like I know wearing a what do you call it? Oh I forgot what it's called. Kimono. There you go.
Mhm.
So there is this white woman who lives in Japan. She married a Japanese man, right? And her Japanese family wanted to have her wear a kimono for their photo shoots for their wedding. And many people were like, people who weren't even Asian. They were just like, oh, this is cultural appropriation. This is
Mhm.
racist. You're being a racist right now. But like, it wasn't, because she was doing it in a way that was respectful, okay? And even like other Japanese people were just like, we don't care. Wear what you want. And I think that, comes into place with like a lot of like cultural like dresses or outfits and
Mhm.
things like that. I know that there was someone who wore I can't say
An
I don't.
Oh, and Ao Yai?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
No,
she was
that's
wearing it with no
Vietnamese.
pants.
Or no,
Oh, yeah, that too. But like
I know what you're talking about, like the Chinese cultural,
yeah,
like
the
the
dress.
Is it?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say
I
it.
I don't know how to say it because I don't speak Chinese, and I don't want to say it, and then somebody who speaks Chinese is like, you just butchered that whole thing. Oh my god! But Chinese cultural dress, not the old like Hanfu, cultural dresses, but just like cultural dress. Yes.
Yeah.
So there are people who are just like white people who are just like sexualizing the fuck out of it. I was like, oh my god, can you calm down?
Yeah, like
Putting
that's disrespectful.
I know it boggles my mind how like sexualized that they can make this thing.
Oh, a
It's
white
just weird to
girl.
me.
She wore it to prom, and then she did like the praying to
I know
Buddha
what you're
pose,
talking about. I know.
See,
and
that's
I was
just
just like,
that's racist.
oh, and then people putting
Hair,
chopsticks
the
in
hair
their
sticks.
hair. No, it's not hair sticks. They put chopsticks
They're
in their hair.
chopsticks? Oh,
It's
Chopsticks.
different when it's hair sticks because then
yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But why are you putting chopsticks in your hair?
I actually saw this reminded me. I saw a post from somebody on Instagram. It was like on somebody's spam, and they were like, "Oh, I want this tattoo." It was like a mind you, they're not Asian. So it was a dragon tattoo that was down the side of their neck, and then the person's
Mhm.
hair was in a bun and it had sticks in it. And I was like, I don't like where this is going, like at all. I was like, this just feels so. Yeah, no.
Mhm.
But I feel like going back to the question, personally, media. I feel like growing up on media has
Mhm.
impacted me a lot, especially
Yeah.
representation stuff like that. I feel like I only started like being more confident in being Asian whenever I found Asian media, because it just felt like like seeing these people basically look like me, and I was like, wow, my god, I could do that too. It made me feel good, it made me feel good, and it's just nice to see people that look like you on TV being successful themselves, because you don't see much of that in American media. You see mostly just like white people being successful, or if you do get any, this is a problem I had with Crazy Rich Asians and some stupid fucking Netflix show that they came out with um
Bro, what was it
Is
called?
it Jenny and George or something like
No,
that?
no, no.
no, no,
It
no, it
was
was like,
like
Wait,
they
is it? Are you talking about Bling Empire?
yes,
yes.
that's what I'm talking about. So here's the problem I have with that. I went on a full fucking rant with her on this. Why is it that once we get Asian representation, it's only wealthy East Asian representation?
That's
Okay,
true.
where is the South Asian representation? Where's the like Asian representation that just like is middle class, not even just like poor, just like middle class? Like, where is that? How come things that have representation have to be like what? Now everybody's gonna think I'm rich because I'm Chinese. Somebody's gonna think I own, like, in China, my family owns like a, I don't
Wealthy
know, like a
tech business.
exactly, like in China. Like I feel like that just perpetuates a different stereotypes that's even more harmful. They're gonna be like disappointed that I'm poor or something. But I don't know. that pissed me off. Pissed me off so much because I was like, okay, Crazy Rich Asians, yeah, full cast of Asian people.
Yeah,
I really like that. Oh, and can we bring up the fact that every single time Asian movie, okay, Mulan,
it's
anything
written
like
by
that.
white people.
No, not that. But it's always about honor and your family.
Oh,
It's
true. Yeah.
honor and your family, stuff like that. On tradition. It's just like, God damn, bro, can't you make somebody like
Make a
be
normal Asian person, bro.
exactly.
Please.
Not everything has to be about tradition and honor, okay? You can't just like water down, Asians to be all traditional and stuff like that. Because honestly, some of us aren't at all. I know my dad is, my dad isn't, but like some of us aren't traditional at all. It feels so offensive.
And like,
Oh.
I would like to add, like, there are people that are very traditional and like honor is like a big thing for them, but it's not like the majority of the Asian community, I would say.
Mhm.
Like a lot of us just want to see like a normal person in media. Honestly, I didn't even think about that when you mentioned Bling Empire because honestly, I kind of liked Bling Empire. I'm sorry. I kind of liked it.
We can't
But
be friends anymore.
no,
Don't talk to me. Just
it was
kidding.
entertaining, but I
It was
get
entertaining.
but like I understand how Asian representation is almost always limited to East Asian representation. And it's always from like China, Japan, like Korea, Singapore. Like the darker Asians don't get a lot of representation
It makes
in
me
media.
mad. It makes
Yeah.
me mad. If you want to do representation, do it correctly. Please.
Represent everybody.
Exactly. If you want to well, everybody should be represented no matter what. I feel like
Exactly.
anything and everybody should be represented.
Represented.
Represented? Represented. Okay.
Presented.
Represented. It needs to be done correctly. Because if it's not done correctly, then at that point, it's like you didn't do representation at all. You know? Oh my god, we
Mhm.
went out of the question once again. But personally, Savannah, how do you think it has affected you?
So I like a lot of kids had like unrestricted internet access at like a young age. But like
Traumatization from the internet.
good and bad thing. Kind of I don't know, man. But I agree with what Trang said that it was hard growing up because I feel like our generation growing up we didn't have a lot of representation as much as the kids now do. So whenever I would watch like TV, I never saw myself like ever. Like I mean, I saw white people and that's a part of me, but it hurt to not see my Asian side being represented. And I remember even though I think I was yeah, I was 15. I'm 16 now. I just turned 16. But when I was 15, Raya and the Last Dragon was coming out, and I was so excited because she looked like me, because she reminds me of like my relatives and stuff. Even though it's like a kids movie, I was still excited because I never had representation growing up.
Oh my god, I felt so happy whenever Mona Moana. Sorry.
Oh, too much
Moana
Genshin
came
for
out.
you.
No, I haven't even played it. When Moana came out, I was like, representation.
Representation.
I'm not even a Pacific Islander or anything like that. I was just like, I was so
Oh.
happy that there was this representation.
Also, The Rock was in it. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Trang.
No, I already went, Kenneth. What
Oh
do you
yeah,
think?
I'm
You
so
can
sorry,
fight.
Kenneth. You
Hi,
weren't good
I'm not
talking at
dead.
all.
I'm not
He's
dead.
zoning out.
He's
I'm not
disregarding
zoning
it.
out. Just I'm listening. But personally, media impact on like culturally. I don't know. Growing up, I never really thought about it because all I ever knew was culture in my family. My family, like no media didn't really have anything to do with it. And whenever I watch a movie, it was always just a movie to me. So I guess in that respect, it impacted me because um, I never really thought about the fact that people of my culture could be represented by media or have a representation in media. I always just thought it was, my family and the way that I live. Never really had anything to do with, you know, people of your culture and ethnicity being or becoming big or having a status in society, in any respect, whether it be here or another place. So,
Mhm.
yeah, personally, I grew up, I didn't really think about that. I never really thought about, um, whenever I watch a cartoon or just a show that this is stereotypical. It never really crossed my mind. And even if there was an Asian in a show or a cartoon, it never really crossed my mind either that it was stereotypical or
Mhm.
racist in ways. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't really
Yeah, that's
remember a
okay.
time where I thought about it in that way. So
But
interesting.
yeah, I feel like media. I don't know. I feel like to some people it impacts more than others. Kenneth, you said that you didn't like really grow up on media.
I didn't I didn't yeah, I didn't really well, I did grow up on media. When I was at the age of 10, around there, maybe like 9 or 10, because most of your I'd say really growing up
Mhm.
as a child is before the age of 10. When you hit 10s, then you start transitioning into another stage of your life, or at least that's the
Like
way that I
Right.
see it, right?
Mhm.
Um, so at that time, before I started being introduced to especially YouTube and other stuff like that, and cartoons or cartoons that I could understand and shows that I understand besides just watching it and looking at the TV like, oh wow. Um, yeah, before that I was just it was family. It was just living the experience and um oh yeah, like holidays. We'll get to that in another. But oh no, I think we already discussed that, but holidays, and
Mhm.
family get-togethers and just doing those things. So, um yeah, the media wasn't really much into my culture until or much at all. Yeah.
I see, I see. I guess it's different for people. When you or personally for me, when you grow up kind of like thinking like just having a bit an identity crisis. I'm 24/7 identity crisis for me.
yep.
24/7. All days of the year. Between anything and everything, it's an identity crisis. When you're like me like that, I feel like whenever you see things on the media, I think it impacts you a lot. So, moving on. Media today is starting to become so diverse with representation. Do you believe that if you grew up with the diversity that we see in the media, would it affect that it would affect how you see things now? Perhaps. I know, I know it probably would have affected a lot of things that I see now. And this also goes to like other races that you see like in media. If you saw them in a different light, like without all the stereotypical, like racist shit, um, I feel like I would see people a lot different. Or at least, obviously, I know better now. But as a kid, seeing people being just like represented in a very racist way kind of made me think like, oh, all people like that act like this, or even seeing like my own race being portrayed in like a racially offensive way. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be acting like this. Um, and if I grew up with like the diversity that I see now, I'd be like, oh, everybody's basically the same. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I would have like definitely a different outlook on not only others but also myself. Like I feel like because I grew up in media that represented other races so like offensively, when I was younger, I had this idea of different races that they were all like the certain way. Obviously, I don't think like that anymore because I've grown up and I've kind of educated myself more. But I probably would have been more educated now if media didn't portray other races like that. And also with myself, like, I feel like it would have given me more confidence now if I grew up seeing myself in media in like a good light. And also, like, when I was like, when I was getting older, I would start to watch, like more like adult movies, sort of. So I would see Asian women portrayed like so sexually, and they would always like sexualize Asian women that I thought that that was like all I could amount to. It's just some sort of sexual object, but that's not true. It's just the way that media portrays. It's a stereotype of Asian women that media portrays as an over sexualized, like, ideal like person.
And I feel like a lot of people over sexualize Asian women because
Yeah.
of that. Everybody wants a woo anime girlfriend.
We
Mhm.
wrote a poem about this
Oh, we did
for our
write.
class.
We did, but like, well, for a little bit of context, me and Chang are in this. We're in the same English class, and we decided to write our like a poem that we had to make about like the troubles, the problems of being an Asian American woman this day and age. One of the big things is that you get sexualized a lot, and you're you know you're you just people just have this like set opinion on you, and they just like want to force you into just being some like just, the stereotype of an Asian woman who's supposed to be like sexualized and stuff like that. It's supposed to only be submissive and serve her husband. Oh, she's so quiet and shy and sweet and stuff like that. It's like, and then you get to the reality of it, and it's like, no, not at all, not at fucking
Mhm.
all. Um, but
Yeah.
Kenneth, what do you think? Let's have you speak early on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Because my situation is a little different with this, I suppose.
Correct.
It's hard to tell if if I would be different, or it would affect how I see things now if there was more diverse representation in media. Because, well, you know, as I said before, I never really associated media, whether it be shows, music, YouTube, blah blah blah. I never associated that with
Games. Don't forget games are a source
and
of media,
games.
because I know
And
you play games a
yeah,
lot.
I
Yeah.
play games a lot, and I never really associated that with culture or anything. I always just watched to watch or played to play, so it's hard to tell. But it honestly might have. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it. I guess one reason I might have never really thought about it is because I never saw something that represented me, so I didn't. It never really connected in my mind that that could be a thing.
Mhm.
So maybe if in the past there was more of that, I might have grasped that idea that, oh wow, there's this person with the same culture and ethnicity as me in this thing, and that can make me feel like I can do more as the person that I am. So I can't tell, but it really might have.
Talking about seeing your culture, I feel like just being like, what do you call it? It's like, oh my god, being exposed to other people's culture. As a child, there were many cultures that I just wasn't exposed to because there weren't any television shows about it. The only music that I would hear was in Spanish or only in English, and I feel like just like finding like just exposing children to more other cultures that is other than theirs, or just the ones that you see on media, which is just basically culture. I feel like that would have brought in, kind of like seeing people. If that makes sense. I feel like as growing up, I feel like I didn't notice that there were more like races. And you know, as you grow up,
Oh,
you
yeah, you know what? You're right.
something.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring something up about that because I suppose one of the biggest things with that, seeing other, well, I guess this goes into more than that, but um people, I guess through media, if you see the stereotypes and stuff like that, and seeing this as a person who represents a culture they don't represent the culture, they represent the entire race. I feel like one of the biggest things that comes out of that is you assume every single person of that race has the same culture
That's
because
Right.
of
true.
the stereotype. So, and Asian people, the whole thing about, oh, all Asians are Chinese and stuff like that, they're all the same, right? You put that into shows and stuff that people see, and then you associate all cultures and ethnicities of that race to be the same, then you're
Mhm.
gonna assume that they're the same,
Exactly.
right?
And
And
it's very, very hurtful.
and another thing, because you were talking about seeing different cultures in shows and stuff like that represented through media, I have very rarely seen Middle Eastern.
Mm.
Uh, yeah,
That's
Yes.
Middle
true.
East, like just any Middle Eastern culture. Especially knowing that there are a lot of Pakistani people in here in Houston.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's
that's true.
yeah. It took a while for me to realize that they were not what I thought they were,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mhm.
I always associated them with a certain race or
Mm-hmm.
another group of people that they really weren't. And it took
Mhm.
a long time for me to realize that because there was nothing there to teach me that they were not what I thought they were.
Right. I was thinking about that while I was saying my whole spiel, but like honestly, as a kid, god damn, I didn't even know Middle Eastern people existed. Oh my god. It was
Yeah.
terrible because I wouldn't see that in like media, and all the people that I went to school with, they weren't Middle Eastern. They were usually just Hispanic or black. Obviously, we didn't have that many white people either,
Yeah.
or we had like a couple Asians, but the existence of Middle Eastern people was so foreign to me until I started meeting, like actual Middle Eastern people whenever I went to Canada. I'm so serious. I think um the first people that I met who were like, "Oh yeah, I'm from the Middle East," were from Canada. Or whenever I made friends in Canada, and I was like, what, 7 or 10 years old. That's 7 years thinking that this whole entire group of people did not exist. That's terrible. I feel like that's terrible, and I feel like
Well,
seeing that now in media, because it's so diverse. I feel like that's such a good thing, That's a good thing, okay? You're not growing up to be 7 years old and ignorant like that. I mean, I wouldn't say I was, like, ignorant or anything like that, but, it's just it's good to be exposed. It's good to see everything. What were you
Check.
saying, Sean?
Yeah.
oh, I was trying to say that since I didn't grow up in America, like I didn't come to America until I was like 7 or 8. Before that, I didn't even know there were other people besides Vietnamese people. I didn't know there was white people. I didn't know there was black people. I didn't know there was like Matter of fact, I didn't even know Chinese people were a thing. I was just like,
I
Vietnamese
don't
people. That's all they are. And when I came to America, it was like culture shock, and I was like, wow,
Oh
so
my
many
god, these people
people.
are a different skin color than me. It's
I know, but I feel like, see, when I came over, I didn't have any like racist mentality. Not that I'm saying I'm racist, but when I was like a kid, I was ignorant, and that
Right.
with the like media I was consuming, it caused me to be like really ignorant, and it caused me to like have a different perception of people, which is like, I'm not saying it's just social media and they're to blame, but I'm saying media had a big part in why I was ignorant when I
right.
was that young. And if I had like as much diversity as there are now in media, I feel like I wouldn't be as ignorant or rude to other races just because I didn't know anything about them.
Right. I see what you mean. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, I kind of have a question for Kenneth. I don't know if I can word this correctly,
Mhm.
but we talked about the media's portrayal of Asian women, and I've seen. So we said that it like sexualizes Asian women, but I've seen sort of the opposite with Asian men, that it kind of portrays them as very feminine. Do you think that's had an effect on how you perceive yourself?
Asian men have small peepees.
Stop.
That's what they
Okay,
always
hold on.
say.
First of all, really?
Or
Is
like,
that the
You
case?
didn't know?
like, have you
Like,
ever seen yourself as less masculine because of how media portrays you, or like?
Man.
okay, all right. Let me bring up something that I actually know is a thing, because I didn't know that media portrayed Asian men as more feminine. I didn't know that because I guess I never really noticed it. I'm sure it's a thing though, but I'm not sure how, like, the actual quantity, I would say, but I think a lot of people assume that a lot of Filipino men specifically are gay.
That's true. That's
Because
true.
there's a lot. I don't know how many, if it's like an actual thing that there are a lot of gay people in the Philippines, because as
There
far as
are,
I
but
know, yeah,
yeah.
as far as I know, like my family, I don't think there's any guy in the family who's gay, but I'm sure there's plenty that I don't know about. Not in my family, but just in
Are
general.
you the gay cousin?
Kenneth,
Are
you
you the
are
gay
the gay
cousin?
cousin.
No,
If
I'm
you
not the
don't
gay
have a
cousin.
gay cousin, that means
Right.
you are the gay cousin.
Ah!
But your question was, does it make me feel any less of a man based on the portrayal?
Right.
Personally, no.
Yeah.
I suppose this is just me, because I know a lot of people can be affected by that. Personally, I don't really let that affect me, because I already know who I am, and my parents have taught me that, right? Like, oh, media doesn't, like, you don't have to listen to all of those and, like, make you think some sort of certain way, because of, these things. So then just I don't think it really affected me, but I definitely think it can affect some people, especially.
Kenneth, Kenneth is mentally hard. Oh my God.
Kenneth is
Oh
I figured
God.
out, man. Kenneth is living his best life.
I'm sorry.
Did you just say Kenneth was
Is there a
mentally
bad
hard?
thing? Did I say something
No,
bad?
she said that you're mentally hard.
Did I say that?
No, she said that you are mentally
Oh, she
like
said I'm mentally hard.
you're strong.
I'm
I don't know.
sorry.
That's not a great way to word that.
That wasn't a great way of
I
wording
don't
at all.
think his brain is erect, but I
Oh my god.
No, we're gonna get this. Oh my God, YouTube's gonna take this down.
Okay.
Wait.
We're not being monetized anyway. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm not mentally erect. I don't even know what that means.
Wait, but
Yes,
What?
Train?
I was just trying to say something and I can't.
Go ahead, Train.
But before we end the podcast, can we say thank you to all of like the Asian, like the OG Asian YouTubers that like were the
Ryan
like basically
Higa.
the Nika Higa, Wong Fu Production, Wasabi Production. Do you
Oh my
remember?
gosh.
Oh
You're
yeah.
bringing this whole
Um,
entire thing back.
yeah, JK News, all of that. I just want to say like,
Rice Gum. I'm just kidding.
No.
okay, not Rice Gum, but
I'm
like,
just
Rice
kidding.
but
Oh my God. I swear.
yeah, I
Those.
don't like without them. I think I would hate myself way more than I I usually am, you know? Like I would be like, oh, because when I was when I was young, I wanted to get surgery so that I didn't have mono eyelids
I'm
because
sorry.
I was like,
No.
ew.
No, but that's a big thing. Like I know the podcast is about to end, but very quickly, with media also pushes Western beauty standards on a lot of people that do not have Western
Yes.
features. So it affects a lot of Asian people, especially like with monolids, like Trang said. that it pushes a lot of people to want to have like double eyelid surgery or like rhinoplasties if you have like a bigger nose or like stuff like that.
And I feel like a lot of that is also like very history based as well.
Yeah,
But
very history-based.
we will get
We
to
will
history
touch on that.
in a
Yes.
different time. I know Savannah's ready for this one. Savannah's so ready for this one.
She loves
Don't
We're
it.
But
always
yeah.
talking about World War II. Somehow
No,
our
no,
conversations
no,
are always World War II.
Look, okay, I am not a World War II geek. I'm not a World War II geek for those that are
She's a
listening.
World War II
I am
standee.
not. My father just likes to take me to war museums against my will. So I do not.
Mhm.
The knowledge
Against her
that I have
will.
consumed is against my will. Okay.
Mhm.
But I feel like today's conversation really lets everybody see how much media can really impact people.
Mhm.
And consuming media, talking about consuming media. I really want to watch some anime after this.
Oh my
I
god.
need to finish
Yep, I
my
think I'm
Attack
gonna
on
watch
Titan
that.
season, okay?
But I'm gonna go do the same thing. So I
Ah,
can't.
loser. Loser. I'm sure Kenneth is probably gonna go play Genshin after this.
I am.
Okay, there's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that.
Loser.
Loser.
Totally.
In all jest, but it's very interesting to find how something like this can be so, influential. To conclude this episode, I would like to thank everybody for watching, of course, and to keep watch for our next video next week. We'll have a next video next week. And we're also gonna, oh my god, wait, drum roll.
Drum roll.
We're gonna have a special guest. It's gonna be Keanu Reeves! Oh my god! I'm just kidding. But until the next time, friends.
Wait. If you have not watched the first episode of Culture Connection, you should go watch it because we talk about cultural identity and it's very good. And
Thank you for
click
that.
the subscribe button down below, smash that like button, turn notifications on. Our social media is linked in the description.
Follow our Twitter.
Yeah, follow our Twitter.
Yeah, follow
Please.
our singular
We have like
social
one
media
follower and
account.
it's me. I'm our one follower.
I didn't know we had a Twitter until they said this.
But quick mention. I don't hate myself. I'm actually very proud that I'm Asian. I
And
used to
everybody
hate
should be
myself,
proud of
but
their
I'm
culture.
okay now. I'm okay now.
Woo!
Okay.
Join us on
Anyways.
our episode, probably like next Thursday or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Culture Connection.